Thank you so much, Sir Jofil. Again, before I start, I would like to thank our Dean, Dean Jocelyn, and also Sir Jofil for the invitation, and also to Dr. Jet. Um, okay, I would like to share my screen now. This presentation is actually, we can say, not a detailed one, but we'll try to cover this. I have more or less 30 slides, but a lot of videos would be included. So I hope you can see my first slide, Doc Jet.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. And okay, to start with, again, thank you so much, everyone, for sparing your afternoon in joining me and joining uh, everyone here to attend this virtual design construction and integrated digital project delivery, the future of construction today. So I'm just going to share um, some of the basics in VDC, and also I'll be introducing to you the next stage because as you all know, Singapore is gearing up to really utilize the digitalization to really streamline the process, especially in the construction industry. So we do have the BIM. Later on, you will learn that we do have the VDC, the virtual design construction, and eventually there's a plan for the integrated project uh, delivery. So to start with, okay, just additional info. Okay, I'm currently the me manager of HR projects, which actually I wasn't able to update this. I already transferred to an EPC company. We have multi-billion project right now. So in the project, I'm one of the B managers and coordinators in Singapore, and we do have our counterparts, B managers and coordinators in Malaysia and in the US and also in India. So the project designers basically and the engineers are situated in multiple locations. So just a brief background how I was able to join or to be part of the BIM professionals group. So I'm I started as a design engineer of a shipbuilding company. Then eventually I was able to do offshore projects utilizing the 3D modeling and 3D coordination. Then I shifted when I transferred there in Singapore. I was able to join another shipbuilding project. Eventually, I was able to handle as a BIM manager an infrastructure project. So just a few backgrounds. I'm a proud alumni of University of San Agustin in Iloilo, and I got my specialist diploma in virtual design and construction in BCA here in Singapore. Also a certified BIM manager last 2019. So just a few photos. Let me just spare me a few minutes on this one. This is just one of the standard slides that I have. So in 2008, 10, and 13, I worked in Japan. Then I started my master's in University of San Carlos, structural and geotechnical engineering. But an opportunity knocks last 2014, so I was able to work on the first tension leg platform in Malaysia. So I'm still utilizing a different 3D software on that one as a lead design engineer and PDMS coordinator. Then in 2017 or 2015, I went here to Singapore. I work in a construction fabrication of topside modules, still an offshore platform vessels, more of steel structures, wherein I'm the lead checker. I'm still utilizing these 3D softwares, especially the one we use in coordination, the Navisworks. Then in 2017, I got my ASEAN. 2018, became a regular member of ASAP. Then I transferred company 2018 in Simco Marine, where I designed the helideck, helicopter deck, the living quarters, the LQ. All of these are steel structures using utilizing 3D modeling from design until the fabrication. Then in 2019, opportunity knocks. I was able to transfer in Asia Projects Engineering as a BIM manager. And also I got my certified BIM manager from BCA, also my ASEAN Chartered PE granted by PRC. And in 2020, I joined ESCA Multidiscipline Institute, wherein I got the certificates to be a certified project manager or digital project manager. So that is basically what we're gearing at. Um, we're trying to manage the projects digitally. So it is a hand-in-hand initiative with the project managers of the actual construction. Basically, we are managing it virtually. And into 2021, I finished my specialist diploma from BCA, Virtual Design and Construction. And yeah, I transferred to my new company or my current company, Excite Singapore, wherein we're doing the engineering, procurement, and construction of a semiconductor plant with 16 facilities in total. Okay, for this afternoon, we're going to discuss just a few items, only 4 items basically. The first one is the construction in the fourth and the fifth industrial revolution. Basically, we are already transitioning from the fourth to the fifth, or we call it a 4IR and the 5IR. But to be honest, we are disrupted because of the pandemic, as we all know. So the transitioning from the fourth to the fifth is a bit extended as well, or stretched. But yeah, we're going to look at this, and you will understand later why we do have this drive or initiative for digitalization. Next, I'm going to share some insights on the background of virtual design and construction, um, which I learned and practiced here in our project in Singapore and in my specialist diploma. And then I'm going to show some of the BIM and VDC applications applicability in all construction project phases. But I think if going to have we're going to need a more in-depth discussion this one. So most of the topics here is going to be overviews. And lastly, I'm going to share to you the integrated digital project delivery, or IPD mindset, wherein this is one of the strongest drive currently of Singapore to transfer or to transition from BIM, VDC, and eventually to the integration or the integrated digital delivery of the projects. Okay, so let's start. The industrial revolutions. Okay, sorry, I was distracted for a bit. Okay, industrial revolutions from industry 1.0 to industry 4.0. So the first industrial revolution, as we all know, wherein the first mechanical loom was invented or introduced, which is in 1784. So it is based on the introduction of mechanical production and equipment driven by steam, or basically heated water. Then after almost 100 years, the second industrial revolution takes effect. This one is based on mass production achieved by division of labor concept and the use of electrical energy. So the first conveyor belts. So if you notice, the main concept of having these conveyor belts is to strategize the workflow. Basically more on the manufacturing, then later on you will realize there's a connection that the manufacturing processes are being introduced now to be applied in the construction using this digitalization. Okay, and to proceed, we have the third industrial revolution, which is based on the use of electronics and IT to further automate production. This kicks in last 1969, so it's around 1970s wherein the first computer were introduced. And information technology gains traction. And lastly, for the fourth industrial revolution, these are based on the use of cyber physical systems. It officially starts around 2000, the early 2000. Okay, more on Industry 4.0. This is a 2-minute clip just to, okay. Why I'm going to share this to you or going to show this to you prior to the other slide is because we're going to have a certain topic here in the discussion wherein the forum or the WeCommerce forum is introducing the shaping the future of construction. I think this is around 2018. And from this video, you're going to see their projections. So that is early 18. And they are preparing this around 2016. So we are already 5 years from the conception of this video. So let's take a look on this one.
To address these challenges in infrastructure and urban development,
could anyone confirm if the audio is audible?
Industry, the World Economic Forum established the Shaping the Future of Construction project. But what will the future of the industry look like? How best prepare for it? The World Economic Forum, in collaboration with the Boston Consulting Group and together with global infrastructure and urban development leaders, developed 3 scenarios of the infrastructure and urban development industry's future. One is a world in which virtual reality touches all aspects of life and intelligent systems and robots run the construction industry. Another future could be a factory-dominated society in which prefabrication and modularization are used to create cost-efficient building structures. Or a third scenario, the world will face severe climate change and depleted natural resources, which urge the infrastructure and urban development industry to use earth-friendly construction methods and sustainable materials to rebuild nature. Current business models, strategies and capabilities of players in the infrastructure and urban development industry will not be sufficient for any of these future worlds. But there are 6 no-regret moves all infrastructure and urban development companies can take to prepare. 1. They must attract new talent and build up the required skills. Widening the sourcing of talent and improving the industry's image can help. The companies should also provide more modern workplaces and opportunities for learning and development. 2. Infrastructure and urban development companies need to enable change management and adaptiveness. This requires agile working methods and flexible organizations. 3. Furthermore, they need to implement digital models and data usage throughout their processes. 4. They must also adopt innovative technologies at scale. It's important to innovate in new ways and integrate new technologies. 5. Infrastructure and urban development companies need to increase integration and collaboration across the value chain. 6. Companies must also constantly identify the most promising products and market segments while embracing new businesses.
All right, so this is basically the video on prepared by World Economic Forum. So a lot of those information or graphs or table that I'm going to prepare or to present later on is coming from the World Economic Forum. They are basically one of the drivers then during the fourth industrial revolution to jumpstart what is needed to be prepared. Okay, so as what we are always saying, unlike other industries, the engineering and construction sector is definitely behind. It has a slow adoption rate compared to other industries such as manufacturing to adopt these new technologies, and has certainly never undergone a major transformation. As a result, productivity has stagnated for over the last 40 years. And the key is digitalization. Basically, more and more construction projects are incorporating systems of digital sensors, intelligent machines, mobile devices, new software applications, increasingly integrated with a central platform of BIM. So this is from the future of construction. This is again from the Economic Forum. This is their projection for the fourth industrial revolution. Number one is prefabrication and modular construction. This is another topic which is very interesting, but requires additional time. This is we have this in Singapore as DFMA, designed for fabrication, manufacturing, assembly. Meaning, if you notice, you're going to have precast or prefabricated modules of each buildings, each rooms. Then you're going to stack it up and installed on site. Actually, there's a lot of structures already, condominiums, school dormitories here in Singapore that is utilizing this or was able to utilize this. Next, they are projecting in 4IR the advanced materials. This includes basically related to the 3D printing. So we can print already our walls. Normally, currently it's the walls. They do have to study the strength of these walls and to replicate or to test it once printed if the actual strength is equivalent to our traditional way of building them. Next is the autonomous construction. Autonomous construction basically it is controlled in a centralized system. So it could be drones detecting by using the barcodes. So you can have your codes in your equipment and you can monitor it. So you can that's a good way of tracking our construction progress and the movement in our site. Next, we do have the augmented reality and visualization. I think in one of my slides later on, I'm going to show you a sample on this one. Also, because of this digitalization, a lot of information is really produced and stored in the cloud. So with this, we should maximize this by having a good analytics. So we call this the big data and predictive analytics. Basically, you're gathering information, but for what? So you need to know so that you can fully utilize this information that we can gather through digital, either software or other innovative technologies applied in the construction. Basically, it is saying that we're going to have a huge data bank, a huge information. So the questions would be, where are we going to store it? And what is going to be the use of this data? That's why we need the analytics on this one. And with this, some of this data or majority of the data stored actually are from these other aspects, like the wireless monitoring and connection equipment. So you have your, in your 3D model, you can detect the level of heat or even monitor the passage of persons in a terminal, in an airport, or even in your building or condominium. So with those technologies installed through sensors and these devices are saved or stored in a centralized location. Okay, and last, or the eighth one, is the cloud and real-time collaboration. As what I've been saying earlier, there's a certain storage that you need. So at the moment, we're actually letting go of the old server, bulky physical servers, and we are trying to utilize the cloud. So this is one of the major aspects of being digital, having a common data environment stored in cloud. Aside from the space capacity that is offered to you, it is very important or significant, especially if the project stakeholders are situated all over the globe, not only in one office. So that's the reason we can do major task designs and collaborations while working from home, while preventing ourselves being infected by the COVID-19. And We do have the 3D scanning and photogrammetry. I'm going to have an example on this one later on. This is one of the most ideal that we are using, especially when we start a project. We can do the LiDAR scanning for ANAs or alterations. And also for a very accurate as-built. So we are utilizing number 9, the 3D scanning and photogrammetry. One of my project is a 2-meter diameter pipeline. Two pieces of those is going to be a distribution line for a major gas company, oil company. So for us to test if the connections are good, if the elevations, the proper installations are correct, we have utilized the photogrammetry, which is more on photographs and dots and post-processing it into a 3D model. And lastly, but not the least, of course, the BIM, the building information modeling. Okay, more of this later, so we'll skip this slide. Okay, we have been mentioning the World Economic Forum, and this is one of their main contributors, the Boston Consulting Group. So from their from the white paper that they have shared, there are many digital technologies that can be applied along the engineering and construction value chain. So from planning, design and engineering, construction until operations. Some of these are the examples already mentioned. The big data analytics, the simulation of virtual reality using those HoloLens or the AR, the augmented reality, and the mobile interfaces. Yeah, we have those AR, augmented reality glasses, and they are connected in a tab or in our phones. So we can do our 3D review even using a tab only. Even you're on site, as long as you have internet connection, you can do that. So that's the main concept. And of course, the building information modeling stored in cloud. And you have the ambiguity tracking, manufacturing, 3D scanning, etc. So with these technology advancements, it is constantly being revolutionized, or it is constantly being developed, and these are applicable from the conception, from the concept design to the detailed design to the actual construction phase until the as-built phase and the handover, even to the FM. We call it the facility management stage or the built asset. So some documents you might read this as the use of digitalization from the conceptualization, which is birth, to the demolition, which is death of our construction projects. So this chart again shows the digital technologies that we have. And with this, designers and engineers all over the globe are using centralized and linked BIM databases to integrate even to a couple million CAD files or 3D models as the project needs to. And also, we do have those drone survey in the actual project site. So I believe a lot of projects there in the Philippines utilize already the drone and the geotagging. Geotagging meaning you have your model and you have those tagged in the map. So you won't have any fake project or ghost project, as what they are saying. And for the inspection, we utilize a drone not only during the actual construction, but even initial surveys. So with the information, with the quality of images captured by the drones, it is making our life easier as project managers or project engineers and even the site engineers when they do their reportings. Okay, because of this GPS and radio frequency or RFID, we can track also the materials, the equipment, and the workers, as what I have mentioned earlier. So because of the RFID, a lot of projects are utilizing this one. A lot of companies are already using this, and they would know what is the volume of the uh, equipment, or what is the volume of the material that is going in and out of their project, or is it Is it from the batching plant already? You can track it in a map. So that is one good thing about having this RFID tracking. And of course, you have the laser scannings, as I have mentioned as well. Next, this is another table provided by Boston Consulting Group during the World Economic Forum for the 4IR, or the Fourth Industrial Revolution. This one is a comparison or the overview of case study findings, estimated impact of digital engineering and construction levers on total life cycle costs and construction time. So they're just comparing, okay, we do have a project in office building, a long distance highway, and a power plant. And this table or these slides simply shows the impacts on these main three aspects of the project life cycle, which is design engineering, the construction cost, and of course the operation cost when we hand over during for the facility management and the actual operation. So based on that one, they do have 15% drop in the design. In the construction, they have 12% drop, and in the cost operation, they have 18. So a total impact on the construction time is around 30% as per their project study. Similarly, in the highway, they have 23% cost construction time impact. So meaning it really lessens their time when they build this project from their traditional processes or procedures by 23%. So it's really a good thing with this table. They're trying to show different projects could really benefit. These two are the main, of course, the cost and the time. So these are the benefits and the decrease in the amount during their execution utilizing the digitalizations. Okay, so here's another set of figures, and we don't have to go detail on this because this is basically the one I already mentioned earlier, just presented by another company when they're doing their study. So this one is from a human resource perspective. So in their paper, they showed 9 technologies underpinning the industry 4.0, which is simulation, the horizontal and vertical, autonomous robots, additive manufacturing, the cloud, the industrial internet of things, the IoT. So this is one thing very interesting, especially for those students to really look at. A huge or a lot of opportunities is open for this. Big data analytics, definitely, even though you're an engineer, a project manager, but if you do know data analytics, you got a very good prospect on the upcoming years for the construction industry. Of course, because we are maintaining a large or a huge number of data, we should have security or the cyber security, as we are saying. So it is to secure whatever the data that we have collected, is it whether it is on site or the stakeholders information, etc. And of course, the augmented reality. So with this 9 technology underpinning the industry 4.0, they were able to share the talent implications of industry as well. So they are saying that CEOs and of course general managers need to be transformers who can identify and capitalize on disruptive trends rather than watch and fall victim to them. It is telling us that CEOs or general managers should be the main drivers of this change. Yes, we are being disrupted, but we should be, as a CEO or the head of our company, we should be the one to adapt early, or early adapters of these changes and technologies. So for the C-suite members, need digital or technological fluency. So meaning you should have trained manpower for this technology. And thirdly, companies need to add technical expertise on IoT, which is Internet of Things. It's not actually the internet as what we call it, the web but it is more on the interconnectivity of this information, of this physical instrumentation that we install on site, and even the data that we have collected through these sensors that we have installed. So this includes, yes, the sensors, the connectivity, and the data. As they are saying, this is a new war for talent in software in particular. This is what I'm saying earlier. Then traditionally, the vertically integrated and somewhat insular, slow-moving industrial companies need to learn to operate effectively in an ecosystem, partnering with the latest technology. So they're saying that those who is very reluctant to adapt to change might eventually be dragged or even fall behind. So that is their prescription. This is from the paper by David Fink, Global Technology Practice Leader. Okay, before we shift to another topic of this afternoon's lecture, let me share another video on disruptions impacting the construction industry. This one is from Autodesk, one of the major players of the not only software providers, but the technology providers used in Singapore and worldwide. So let's check this out.
The construction industry is changing. The arrival of digital technology radically altering the way buildings are designed and created. Building information modelling combines innovative technology with more effective business practices, transforming the construction process using intelligent 3D models. It's the first step towards the future of making things, and Autodesk is leading the way.
This big collision of the digital and the physical worlds. So the ability to very easily and simply and cheaply capture reality and bring that into a digital environment. To then work with that digital environment through the use of things like gaming engines to simulate and come up with the best outcome, and then to take that back into the real world through things like augmented technology.
Autodesk software de-risks the construction process by outlining and solving challenges pre-build, designing out error and therefore waste. Hill was an early adopter of BIM. Here, a steep incline factored in at the planning stage.
With BIM, you can spin buildings around, you can turn them upside down, and you can then understand in ways we never could how buildings will be going together.
And in an increasingly globalised industry, BIM technology allows companies to become more competitive, putting all the relevant build information in one place, liberating site managers.
It allows us to bring our office out onto site with us, so it frees up a lot more of our time. You know, years ago we'd spend 90% of our time out on site. 10 years ago that started reducing until we're probably spending 30% of our time out on site. This gives us back a fair chunk of that back out on site again. You've got a lot more control of what's going on, you know what's going on more day to day, and you've got a lot more control over the details that we've been put in.
Autodesk is harnessing two major new arrivals in the field. The cloud, which is putting project information and application functionality into the hands of the construction workforce, supporting them with vast amounts of computing power, and generative design, the use of algorithms to accelerate the design of projects.
Okay, so we're about to transition to the next part of the lecture, which is construction industry as a disrupted ecosystem.
Computing power via and that essentially has the pursue one of tomorrow's of being best possible because you have access to huge numbers of resources.
And robotic manufacturing holds the promise of radically shortening the distance between a design and...
Okay, so this paper or this infographics is a part of the document released by McKinsey, McKinsey and Company. So basically they are a consulting firm wherein they do have the several studies of the industry, and they're doing a lot of consultation, and basically they are the one who prepares the industry basically. So just a trivia, they are the one who coined the new normal term. It is coined by McKinsey and Company. Okay, this is the white paper they had for the Industry 4.0. From this slide, we are saying that construction is responsible for a wide range of impressive accomplishments like cityscape, skyscrapers, foundational infra, massive scaled innovation and those huge projects. But they have noticed, based on their records, that the construction industry is not really performing well. The annual productivity growth over the past 20 years, based on this paper, was only a third of the total economy averages. And also, the construction industry is one of the slower adapting industry. So it means digitalization is lower than in other industries such as manufacturing. This also shares with us that the construction industry was already starting to experience unprecedented rate of disruption even without COVID-19 pandemic. So it is a fact. Based on this one, we do have the customer demands are getting higher. The construction inputs and characteristics becomes persistent scarcity of skilled labor. And for the market rules and regulations, it is becoming stricter on safety and sustainability. So the future industry dynamics includes the product-based approach, specialization, value chain control, consolidation, customer eccentricity, branding, etc. One of the main key point here is sustainability. I believe this is part of any discipline or any professional agenda. Like for civil structural, we do have to consider in our project the sustainability of creating this, of doing this procedure, etc. So that is the future industry dynamics. And what are the emerging disruptions? So it's this middle column here are the dynamics that we do have or we are expecting in the future industry, but we are expecting a lot more emerging disruptions. Number one is the industrialization, new production technology, enabling industrialization to shift toward off-site production. So because of this, we do have the prefabricated modules, or some of our buildings are being modular. So we are decreasing the logistics or having it the in situ casting. So those materials that we traditionally have is being replaced by a cleaner and less material usage by having it fabricated or installed offsite. Then we just transfer and like Lego blocks, we connect them and install them as the building or our project progresses. So that is another thing. And also, as we mentioned earlier, the new materials, a new material technology, new lighter weight materials. Ideally, we would like to have a material that does the strength that we require from our traditional calculations from the traditional construction method, but in a lighter weight. Because of this lighter weight, one of the major impact is we can have higher structures, meaning you can have higher structures with less material consumed. So these are the disruptions because we are being introduced by a lot of materials. So we as, for example, I myself, a structural engineer or a project manager, I should consider as well these new materials when I'm going to develop or design my project. And one of the biggest chunk here in the emerging disruptions is, of course, the digitalization. The digitalization of products and processes. So later on, you will have these smart buildings. You will have the design of BIM. construction using the VDC and channels. So of course, another disruption is because there are a lot of startups. Yeah, that's a reality. We have a lot of startups, we have a lot of companies. So most of these companies are young and they're quite idealistic and they are introducing something new. So those with the traditional mindset are really being, as the term is called, disrupted. But these are the game changers that we are looking at as we transfer to the next industrial revolution. Again, these are the sources of the construction disruptions. This is from the paper by McKinsey and Company. They have the rising customer sophistication, scarcity of labor, safety and sustainability, industrialization. So these are the sources that we had just explained earlier. These are the new um, sources of disruptions in the industry. So for example, for the rising customer sophistication and the total cost of ownership pressure, the client demands are evolving as well. They know, okay, you can do it slow, you can do it faster, and you can still deliver when I cut off a lot of some of the original schedules, then the pressure builds up. But definitely with digitalization, we can do deliver. But again, it is an added pressure because they do know. And also, for example, because of the new technologies and persistent scarcity of skilled labor and changing logistics equation, skilled labor shortages have become a major issue in several markets. And of course, those who doesn't transfer their knowledge will eventually retire. So that is one of the practices that we are trying to do, is transfer of knowledge from the generation that is already doing it, practicing it, to the younger ones. So once they have this, get a better grasp of it, and they were able to innovate, then we have a huge chance of being successful in the next coming industrial revolution with these new ideas. So it's still rooting there. The older staff knows a lot, but if it is not transferred, no transfer of knowledge even within an organization, then it is really detrimental to the fall of that company. So that's one thing. Okay, so this is still part of that paper, the future construction ecosystem. We have described this already. We have from the development, the design and engineering. So it is more on silo. Being silo, you have the machinery manufacturing here, you have the materials, you have the components, distribution, and you have the final building. So this is usually the usual flow. This is the usual flow that we do have. But this is one of the future construction ecosystem that we're trying to propose with those digital innovations and technology that we have. The construction process is increasingly product-based, and structures will be products and manufactured offsite by branded product housing specialization. So example, you do have this project 1, project 2, project 3. It is more on being developed in this silo. Then you have the offsite manufacturing, whether it is a building. So that's what I'm saying earlier. The initial adapters of digitalization is the manufacturing industry, and the construction industry is lagging behind. But a lot of our leaders notice that, hey, some of our processes in the construction industry could be streamlined using the one used in the fabrication or in the manufacturing. Like, for example, you have this line of car manufacturers. They have this body built here, welded here, painted in this part, and moved there, additional parts added. So it is being utilized in the construction process. It is more like having a manufacturing process for these construction projects. That's why we were able to conceptualize on the offsite or the prefabrication. And now we do have the entire building using the DFMA, the design for fabrication, manufacturing, assembly, meaning one entire unit is built offsite. one entire unit. You have there your kitchen, you have there your living room, you have your kitchen, you have your toilets, and you have your room inside that single module. And the detail of accuracy, because normally when you're going to have this installed offsite, is really below 5 millimeters, because you do have a receiving connection, you have the upcoming connection. So the detail there is being created using our 3D models. So that's one thing why we really need to go to digitalization of these processes. So basically this slide, this is what this slide is showing us. We are trying to streamline from this, a lot of processes, to this. Multiple projects could be incorporated in one. And the players to increase control of the value chain, either digitally or via vertical integration. Off-site manufacturing. So this vertical integration means as what I have described, you're going to build it off-site or prefabricated on-site, then you just start to stack it up in your actual building site or construction site. All right. So everything good so far? So we're already midway with our presentation. So let me introduce to you the virtual design and construction processes. I hope those informations are clear. We're just emphasizing there's really a need to digitalize these processes. There's really a need to streamline these processes using the available technology and innovations that we have. So now let me reintroduce BIM to you guys. So what is BIM? It is a building information modeling. It is an intelligent 3D model base. So intelligence, take note, it is not only for picture, it is not only for visual, but you do have a lot of built-in information within those objects in your 3D model, or we call it elements, with corresponding attributes and parameters. So these are model-based processes that gives our key engineering construction professionals, or the AEC as we call it, the insight and tools to more efficiently plan, design, construct, and manage the buildings and infrastructure. So, okay, just give me a few seconds to review this. I know you're quite familiar, or majority of us is quite familiar with this. So basically, BIM is going to be the nucleus. It's going to be on the center of this process. Originally, it is Archi will contact each and every discipline, same as the project manager will ask Archi, engineering, etc. And it's going to be a really messy process. So what this flow is going to do is everyone could see it from the central model, which is the building information modeling federated model. So the Archi, the other professionals such as the PM, the controlling institutions, the fabrication, detailing, could maximize the process or streamline the process by using a single model, or they're working on a single model. So with this kind of practice, you are assured of a less clashes, you are assured of more coordinated models and eventually drawings for your site, and of course more robust and efficient data management system. Because with this, we need to utilize a common data environment, or the CDE, which is basically the single storage per project. So you will know if it is the latest one or the old version of this drawing or the model. Okay, so much for BIM. This is the virtual design and construction. Why did I emphasize BIM earlier? Because virtual design and construction, or VDC, is the management of integrated multidisciplinary performance models, which is basically the one that we are creating in BIM, which includes the facilities, the work processes, the organization, and the construction operational team in order to support explicit and business objectives. So this is from CIFE Stanford. This is highlighted because they are the one who coined or do the first researches in VDC. It is in Stanford, USA. So in short, with this a bit complicated definition, what is really VDC? It is basically composed of only three we need to remember. It is utilizing BIM, a 3D model. It is utilizing the ICE, or the Integrated Concurrent Engineering. And lastly, the PPM, or the Process Production Management. So these three is basically the one we are utilizing when we do the virtual design and construction flow. So from the VDC concept, we have the BIM, which is the 3D model and other information like drawings, reports, etc. And you also have, while doing this design, the ICE is being conducted. ICE, it is a certain meeting. The main purpose of the meeting is to resolve any issues like clashing, or this level here is in way of the structures column, or in way of electrical cable ladders. So basically, the attendees of the ICE meeting are the major stakeholders or the major decision makers. The attendees here are the PM, the design manager, the discipline leads, the leads who can say, yes, we will move, no, we can't. See, because the main purpose again of the meeting is to resolve this issue. Okay, we're going to sit in, take a look at the model, what are the issues that we're facing, and right there and then, we should be able to resolve them. So a lot of companies are doing that, especially the big companies doing huge projects. Okay, so this one, if you're able to see a document from BCA, or the Building Construction Authority in Singapore, this is from the VDC guide actually. So it simply shows here that we have a project goals, but for us to to be more efficient, we will utilize the ICE, we will utilize the BIM, and we will utilize the PPM, or the product process management. So basically, these are the targets from the Singapore VDC guide. We have the BIM. It could be the product, the content, and the quality are really checked. These are the information embedded on each model to fulfill that specific target. So we will not go into detail on this one, but you will definitely have in the actual project the level of detail. So this is basically one we are trying to resolve or have it inside our models. Then also the ecosystem, which are the stakeholders, the environment, the network, and the process optimization. So normally, when we do have the VDC trainings, it is more on setting our mindset that we do have technologies available, but we do have our traditional processes. Now, if you as the leader of that company, if you as the leader of that organization, what can you do to streamline this? What can you do to utilize your available technology, which is in the market? A lot of companies are doing R&D on it, and you can simply adapt. So there's more on the practice of process rethinking. So that is one of the practices when we are trying to apply VDC going to our IDD. So just because of this, our BIM helps us in our decision making, and ICE as a method of interdisciplinary meetings, as I have mentioned. A lot of discipline, especially the decision makers. You don't have to send your entire team to be there. Only the decision makers would be sufficient. So basically the leads. Okay, another trivia. Team X of NASA is the one who coined the ICE. It is in NASA Propulsion Laboratory, wherein they first developed this method in the mid-1990s and used to organize space missions in more efficient and coordinated way. So that's not quite a good trivia, right? We're applying this in our construction practices, but it was coined in NASA for efficient and coordinated space missions. Isn't it amazing? Okay. Okay, I think we're going to transition to the last part of our presentation. I'm going to have here some examples of the BIM and VDC applications in all construction project phases. Supposedly, yeah, we do have applications again from the conception or the basic design to the detailed design to our as-built or the construction as-built until handover and operations or the FM, facilities management. So one of these BIM BDC applications is, of course, the reality capture. You do have your camera, you can have the smooth communication, comparison, etc. So basically you have there a camera and you're utilizing it to capture your actual project. So this is very useful again for starting our ANAs, alteration projects, or in our as-built. So I think this is a video. Yeah, this is a video, one example of laser scanning and beam or scan to beam. You scan by using a reality capture equipment and you eventually post-process it into a 3D model that you can utilize also in your 3D.
At how we can use technology to enhance our workflow. We invited IntelliBuild with the assistance of engineering surveys to scan our studios as a demonstration to understand the potential of 3D laser scanning.
The device basically shoots the laser at the target and then captures the data in return. So it scans a vertical line and then it pivots a small degree and then it scans the next vertical points. And the points are registered. So we can register the points to a survey grid. We can use the...
I'm going to fact track this and fast track this one because we still have the IDD. I want to cover that one because it's quite unique and still new even in Singapore context. So I will fast forward this.
3D BIM models that we can use for floor plan drawings, elevation drawings. We can cut sections to the point cloud. So we can actually generate traditional documents very, very quickly. And we know their actual representation of the actual space. And then from a design perspective, we can design a new system inside that point cloud. So we can put a new ceiling into a space. Maybe it's a retail space. We can put a new shop fronts and we can see what they look like in an accurate survey. And then we can figure out, okay, well, we demolish these rooms, then we can refit them in this way. So we knew that the new systems would fit inside the old system. We can get very, very detailed, capture the survey information, and then a couple of weeks later, somebody says, well, actually, we need a measurement for the internal system, so the wall system. We don't have to go back to site and survey again. We've already got all the points. So we can just basically go back and remeasure the scan for that. So it's essentially a very, very powerful survey tool. But you may want to use the data for something else. You may want to use it for facility management. So you've got your building and you don't have a BIM system. You could actually survey the facility, capture all the information as built condition of a space that they already own or that they're planning to purchase or invest in as well. And that's where it gets very, very interesting.
It's clear that the 3D point cloud data produced by high definition will save time.
Okay, so this is our HD laser scanning. So we have a lot of that one in, I think even the Philippines, we're applying that. We do have several companies who offers rental so that we can apply the reality capture or the scanning. Okay, the next one, another application we have, of course, the basic BIMVDC is a 3D model. So this is one of the modules we have prepared. I think this is 4 years ago. This is a processing module. We have created 20 of this, and we have this constructed, then eventually transported and installed on top of a floating production, storage, and offloading vessel. So this is one of the modules. Definitely our building, of course, you're quite familiar with that one. So this is a steel structure with a lot of M&Es, mechanical, electrical, and plumbings on it. And this one, beside that is a VDC room. One of the rooms that if you're going to have the ICE, we more or less utilize this kind of room. So this is an example, quite an old example. I think this is mid 2000, but yeah, it's a good example for a VDC room.
Features. As you can see, this room is outfitted with multiple screens for presenting and collaborating information, virtual reality cameras, audio and visual sensors, and other interactive elements that can bring your presentation to life.
The immersion room also comes with a variety of connection options. Multiple HDMI cables and ports are available for employees and guests to use to present their screens. The room also has Wi-Fi capabilities to allow presenters to connect remotely using their iPad, tablets, and mobile phones.
The room makes use of the Cisco video conferencing system, which provides clear live stream of the presenters and participants and can even jump from speaker to speaker. Sensors and microphones positioned throughout the ceiling tiles follows my voice and motion, allowing the camera to follow me around the room.
The immersion room uses mezzanine and oblong technology controlled by these wands. The wand can be used to move, discard, and even zoom into an image presented on this screen. Images can be locked onto one screen or split across all three, depending on the needs of the day. This allows presenters and participants to get into the nitty-gritty details of a project.
We're now going to show you how Lendlease is using these technologies and get a deeper dive into the design and build process.
At Lendlease, we like to say that we build the project 4 times, 3 times through technology and 1 time in real life, to take an architect's 2D drawing and convert it into a 3D model. We can use this model to identify basic clashes in mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and fire protection system, and get a basic layout of the building.
We now jump to the Navis model, which allows us to see the inside of the building and further identify any problem areas that might come about in a typical project. Again, identifying any clashes or collision sites in this phase can save a lot of headache later on in the process. Additionally, it allows you to get a feel for the space before reaching a point of no return.
The last 2 examples are industry. Utilizing VR technology, we are able to move inside the building and get an up-close and personal look at the building's interior. I can insert myself directly into the interior of this building and identify potential issues on a new level. This has been particularly useful for detecting safety hazards and identifying space restrictions. Again, identifying these problems ahead of time can save the project team time, money, and keep our construction team safer.
These are just a few of the cutting-edge technology.
Thank you.
Okay, so that is an example of VDC room wherein they're doing their model reviews and can be utilized as well for the one that I mentioned, the ICE or the integrated concurrent engineering. Next, another 2 of the examples, of course, of the VDC and BIM. We have the 4D simulation. 4D is basically utilizing the 3D model and connecting it with our schedule software such as Primavera P6 or even our project, our other project management tools, even Excel. So let's see the video. This one is this video is one of the newest. It's one of the newest software that we have in the market, which is the Fusor 4D simulation, a Chinese software. The audio was intentionally removed because this is video for presentation. So this is one example. They do have their 3D model, even the side cranes, and it is connected in their planning. So later on, we're going to see some of their schedulings here connected. So based on the planning, you can do the simulation, like the sequence of installation. This is a typical installation of a barracks for the crew. You have their calendars underneath here. And you have also the 3D models of the trucks. So doing the second level based on your schedule. starting with the outer part of the building. So you have the initial facades. And that's it. This is one example of a 4D simulation software. So we do have also the Autodesk Navisworks. We also have the Bentley product, which is Synchro Pro, which is a very robust software. Because here in Singapore, we do have separation of projects. Like one project would be using a Bentley enterprise design tools for collaboration for their common data and their environment. And other projects would be utilizing the Autodesk products. And this is one of the newer products in the market, which is the Fuser. Next, we do have also the augmented reality, wherein you do have a paper and you can see it growing into the 3D. Okay, so actually a lot of companies are really racing to do the innovative stuff for the AEC industry, or the architectural engineering construction industry. Trimble, which is the maker of Tekla, is also have their own version of this virtual reality or augmented reality. If you have seen old movies or cartoons wherein you have a screen and you're just pointing using your hands, hand gestures to zoom in, zoom out, slash this file, etc. They're doing that already. And you can see it in a phone. I just wasn't able to get a copy from a friend working in Trimble. Well, hopefully I can share it to you with Sergio Phil. Okay, moving forward. I think we're on top of the hour. We're going to transition now to the last topic, which is the integrated project or integrated digital project delivery, IPD or IDD here in Singapore. So to start with, let me give you a 1-minute video. I hope it's okay. So it doesn't have the sounds. Too bad. So this is the IDD product by Trumbull. The digital revolution is rapid urbanization. It identifies the key transformation of the key areas is the IDD. So what is it? And why should we care actually if we are part of the construction industry? IDD builds on top of BIM. It leverages cloud and digital technology like the VDC and to integrate the stakeholders in the building lifecycle management. IDD involves the 4 main components. So again, for the VDC, we have BIM, we have ICE, and the PPM. Now we do have 4 in the IDD, which is digital design, digital collaboration, digital production, and digital construction. So more of this stuff on the succeeding slides. Basically, we're just trying to, we do have the technology first in the BIM, and we can apply it on site. So we have coined the VDC, what is its applicability. And eventually we focus on these four. Basically, some of these are also mentioned, like the drone. Later on, you will have a differentiation on this. What I'm going to share is the IDD initiative of BCA here in Singapore. So this is the Integrated Digital Delivery, or IDD. It is the technical guide of how the IDD is implemented. So what they're saying is it is integrating and digitalizing the built environment value chain. So we do have this, we do have the streamlining of the work processes, we do have the connecting stakeholders, digital data, innovation, and technology. Then across is the whole project lifecycle from design, construction, fabrication, facilities management, or the FM, and to deliver a better outcome for end users. So basically, if you understand the VDC, it's more or less similar to this one, but this is more focused. So these are the stages. BIM, building information modeling, is you have single source of truth, or we're working on a single 3D model as much as possible, which we call federated model, wherein all the disciplines are sharing their models there. You have the archi, structural, civil. You also have your ME, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and you have even the fire protections and other systems. Then going up the ladder is the VDC. It is coined as build twice. First, virtual, second, real. If you are familiar with the term digital twin, so basically that is the concept of VDC. Then going further, we have the IDD, which is integrating and digitalizing the built environment value chain. So it's not only on the design aspect, more of this is going to be on the processes, the administration, the project management. So we're going to digitalize it in preparation for the actual handover. So these are the four principles. This is still from BCA. I think I have, yeah, it is from BCA. First is the digital design, which is engaging the stakeholders. And next is the digital fabrication. You have your design, you either call it out to a robot. You can do this DFMA using your automated machineries, or maybe you can do the robot to do your 3D printing, etc. Basically, digital fabrication translates the design to a standardized components for automating offsite production. So we are streamlining again. So it is there. We are saying it is part of the requirement in the fourth industrial revolution to have it offsite. But what else can we streamline? So this is it. The IDD for the digital fabrication, may it be 3D printing, may it be the DFMA, as what I keep on saying. Then you do have the digital construction, just-in-time delivery, installation, monitoring. So you can utilize the drones, you can utilize your tablet using the augmented reality. We also have the construction robots, although it was not included in my slide, but we do have those as part of the technology for the construction industry. So a lot of companies, they do have their robotic dogs that are roaming around their project site. So it is helping, especially on the safety aspect during inspection. We don't have to put to basically push our people, our staff, our workers, even ourselves, the engineers, to look in the site, especially if it is of high risk location or there's a safety hazard involved. So that is one good thing if we do have these robots on site. So that is part of the digital construction. aspect of IDD. And next is we have, or the fourth principle is the digital asset delivery and management. It is the real-time monitoring for operations and maintenance to enhance asset values. So what this simply says is that if you have a very good model, a very detailed one, even to the point that you know the luminosity of your light bulbs, you know the average power consumption of this floor because your data is really accurate during your modeling or your design stage, you can take advantage of this when you deliver it for facilities management. So you do have the highest level of development or LOD, highest level of detail when your project requires it for facilities management. Because with this, they can control their electricity consumption, even the cooling system that they have, the temperature control, so they can have this. So this is very useful not only in buildings, but particularly on plants, operation plants. So you can have your tanks ullage or the level of the water or oil in your tanks monitored. So it is already there as long as you have a good model with the corresponding details really built in it. You can have this one via sensor, and you do have a monitoring somewhere in a centralized station. Just capturing it from the cloud, you can do your monitoring. So these are just some of the examples of the IDD initiative. So some of the use cases, what does it mean? These are the value chains that we have. We have the design, fabrication, construction, and facilities management. So these are the usual use cases that we do have for study, for further improvements, or for existing innovations like generative design, wherein from your model, you can do have the automation, like you can do 1 to 1,000 iterations using a specific software, like for example, Dynamo. You could link that one in your 3D modeling tool like Rivet, and you can, once you run the script, it is more like a programming, but is like connecting the nodes, and you can have as much as multi thousands of iterations or modifications in your model. So this is quite useful during the concept stage. And with this, you can also utilize like, okay, this part is quite windy. What if I move this a bit? So you don't have to redraw anything, just run the script and it will give you options on those to, it is more of automation from your 3D model. And the design optimization, of course, using your 3D model with the correct info, you can optimize it until the FM stage. Of course, we do have the design analysis and simulations. We can run the finite element analysis and connect it. There are studies that is connecting this analysis to the model. So from the model, we can extract the shop drawings, but it is a good thing that we can run it, although we do have more robust and specific softwares for this activities, but it is being linked already in the BIMVDC and IDD chains. So again, we have the ICE, the virtual mockup. If you're familiar with the mockup, earlier in the practice, we are using it. We are used to red line markups. If you're familiar with that one, you have a design, you have comments, so you do the red line marking. This one, they do an actual mockup. They build the actual sample of one. Specifically, in there are a lot of high-rise buildings here, or not high-rise, a lot of condominiums and HDB buildings here in Singapore that is utilizing this because they're using the DFMA, the design for fabrication, manufacturing, assembly, which is off-site assembly of one entire unit. So they do have one virtual mockup and they do the inspection there. So any changes and utilizing the actual information from the 3D model. So with that, virtual mockup, they are assured of the connections. So it lessens the risk during installation. So these are just few of them. We have tender documents. For the fabrication, we have the detailing, the BIM-based fabrication drawings. Of course, if your model is really accurate, you can really extract a very good shop drawings for fabrication or for construction. And you can have, again, we have shown the 4D and the 5D, we have the quantity takeoff. If you do have a very good model, you can get automatically quantity takeoff from those models. Then you do have QC inspections, etc. Okay, for the constructions, you have the ICE, you also have the mock-ups, the use of RFI, so these were discussed earlier. The beam to field digital layout, so you can utilize your LiDAR scans or your drones for QC inspections. So these are the use cases in the value chain. And some examples for the FM or the facilities management is digital commissioning and asset model handover. So it's a different topic for this one. Basically, the asset model handover is more on how much is the level of detail inside your model. Okay, I think we're about to finish with the time so that we still have some minutes for question and answers. I'll just go over this quickly. The key areas to move from VDC to IDD is you build twice for the VDC and the construction, then the IDD is integrating and digitalizing the value chain. So it is more streamlined. This aspect is fabrication, key to the value chain integration, and the FM, which is key to the life cycle integration. Okay, I think this is just a few. Okay, Gammon is one of the company here in Singapore and worldwide, and they are one of the strong implementers of BIM nowadays, especially this IDD. So this is one of their promotional videos. They do have a lot of spectacular projects that we can relate, and it's really amazing how they adopt the technology. So the project is underwater, and they're utilizing this one is the Synchro 4D for their planning. Inspection using the VR inside a VDC room or the BIM room. In some offices, they call this the BIM cave. So this project is in Hong Kong. They have several projects there that utilize massively the digitalization BIM and VDC. This is what we call the point cloud, the photogrammetry. So what you capture are dots, but you eventually post-process it, which you can utilize into transform into a 3D model. So this is what we're saying about DFMA. It is a modular construction. This is the entire unit, which they're going to connect side by side with the very, very slim clearances. So a structural engineer is really helping a lot in this design process, and the modeling aspect is also have a huge impact on the success of these projects. So some of the fabrication yards or fabrication workshops are abroad or overseas, and they will be transferred via a tanker or a seagoing vessel. And yeah, this is normally here in Singapore, it's nighttime where we do the transport. I hope you just spare me a few more minutes to finish this. This is a very good video where we can relate on majority of the digitalization and the VDC projects application. So again, during nighttime is the lifting and the installation. Workers count. They're counting the number of workers doing what activities there. They do have the RFIs in their IDs. Yeah, before they officially hand it over, we do have the LiDAR scanning. This is one of the products that offers it, Faro. And we are connecting the data inside the model that we have created. Then we post-process if there's no difference. If there's any, then we need to capture that in our reports and to be approved for handover. This is one of the partial robotics wherein it is a wearable vest to help the site workers for the heavy liftings. Okay, let me go back that a bit. So they utilize a 3D model for their sidewalk and safety inductions. This one is the safety induction on site. It is the actual site locations of these barricades, location of the cranes, so they can do the briefing almost real time. So this is Gammon. I do have one more video, but I think we can wrap this up here. This is from Ong and Ong. Ong and Ong is also one of the pioneer adapters of BIM in Singapore. Let's see how long is this video. Otherwise, we'll just end it here so that we can still have a few questions. Sir Jofil, is it okay? 4 minutes.
Yes, sir. Proceed.
Okay, sige sir. 4 minutes. So Ong and Ong is one of the pioneer adapters of BIM in Singapore, and now they are partnering with the BCA, or the Building Construction Authority, to be the pioneering adapters of IDD as well. Okay, so this is the one that I mentioned a while ago. This is Dynamo. It is an Autodesk product wherein you can automate some of your models for various modifications. So we're applying this in most of our projects, but again, this is quite handy during the concept stage. And right now we're applying this for the QC of the models, because you can check out the parameters and other items embedded, or other attributes embedded in the model. We call this computational BIM, or the generative design. You see, the openings are moving based on the conditions that you want to test. Then later on, when you're going to present it to your client, you're going to have several options. So notice here, the openings there are the ones being automated. So this is another example: a twisted one, a straight, a longer one, a long rectangular shape. So these are just some of the modifications. It is automatically done if you have a base model. This is the model checker that is embedded inside Revit. So we can link another, aside from doing the Dynamo scripting for the QC of our Revit models, we can utilize this interoperability too. At the moment, I'm already several pages on this one. We're creating the check set for the 3D models that we're going to receive from India, from the US, and from Malaysia, also here in Singapore as well. So these are the sample dashboards which are automatically created, but you need to really focus on what tests you want to execute on the models. Okay, the prototyping. These are per unit. So again, this is part of the DFMA, and they're going to install this on site, stack it up stage by sequence that they have planned out. So, sorry, it is covered. It is a digital RFI, or and issue tracking and approval. So we can utilize this one during the actual construction. So this is one actual example of ice session done in Ong and Ong, Vietnam, and Malaysia. And lastly, for the FM, facilities management, we have this scan to BIM. Your actual output or product is being scanned, totally scanned and converted into a post-process 3D model. And you can do the virtual walkthrough before handover. So these are the things that they are preparing. Again, they are one of the pioneers here. The ISO 19650 certification, which is quite expensive actually. This is, if you're really serious in studying or applying BIM digitalization in your company or in your practice, this is one of the certifications that we should aim for. Then they have their own training center and innovations. They do have merits or additional incentives for R&D works or ideas. All right, I think this is the last of my slides. Thank you so much for your attention, everyone. I hope you pick up something. And I think it's time for some few question and answers. Dr. Jeff?
Okay, so that was the very informative discussion of engineer Sir Lex. So let's give him a virtual clap. So thank you, Sir Lex. And okay, so this time is about question and answer part. So if you have any clarifications, questions, so feel free to chat. Okay, so we have We have a question here, Sir Lex, from Ma'am Luis Daniel. So, what research topics, formulating new methods of frameworks, would you recommend to students that would integrate IDD in the Philippines?
Okay, so one of the topics there is, of course, the computational BIM or the generative design. This is for civil engineering students or even graduate students, and for architectural, because they are the one mostly involved in the conceptual design. And for those students that would like to practice the project management aspect of this industry, they can do well with sample robotics. Simple robotics will do, because some of this could be partnered with international companies to do a live testing on your project. And also those project management tools that like sensor utilization, how are you going to capture it, and it's more on how you're going to utilize the information that you're getting. And for the inspection as well, you have your actual QA QC. If you're a site engineer or quality QA QC engineer or manager, then you can focus on the quality aspect. You can have it quality of the design models, even to the quality of the handed over, or to the handed over models for construction. And you can have as well the QAQC research on the applicability in the actual construction site. So those are just a few, Sir Jet.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you, Sir Lex. So any questions, sirs and moms? Any clarifications? I think
okay.
Lex, just a few clarifications. Let's say, for example, if a construction company having a big project is using BIM, will that it means he can go into the company can go further into using BDC and IDD, or
Definitely, sir.
is that a different software? Three different software.
Basically, yeah. The quick answer there is, if you are an adapter of BIM, you can definitely go further to do the BDC practices or processes. Just incorporate, because as what I mentioned, we do have our traditional processes, and utilizing, because it's not only the technology, sometimes it's the workflow like the ICE. If you are incorporating that one during your design process, the conceptualization process, or even the actual design, detailing design, you're already practicing BDC. And if you want to go a step further, you can apply even a, of course, registered drone for your inspection. You are still practicing VDC as well. So it's not only on the software aspect, Sir Jovil, but more on the processes streamlining using this available innovations and technology. And it's still in it again. It keeps on keeps on improving, yeah, in evolving. So I just want to add another very good topic for me, or for me to suggest, is the DFMA. We do have those small ones, but we do have a lot of materials already available. So it would be a very good thing, yeah, very good thing to have that one looked into in a research, connection details, and the weight limitations. Yes, it's very nice, sir. It's a very good study as well.
Yeah, let's have it next year. Another clarification would be on the quality management or the QA/QC side. Using that BIM, BDC, and IDD guarantees zero defects in terms of quality?
Based on my readings, based on what I have read so far, it's not zero defect, but a very significant decrease in the defects that they were able to report. Because first thing, they can trace, especially, for example, to be specific on the material being delivered, so they can monitor what time the truck leaves the batching plant and what is the time they were able to, and how much is the volume. And again, they can prepare it on site. So basically, some of those are really, some of the usual problems are really addressed digitally, so because they have the tracking. And some there are a lot of QA QC monitoring devices nowadays being developed, because it is one thing that is on the earlier years of adoption, they were not looked into yet, because of more, I believe it's more focused on the design. But now, since it is established, a lot of software, a lot of processes or additional innovations are focused on this QA/QC. So there's one also, like your reporting, even the permit to work, the PTW approvals, the reporting of your non-compliance. Even it is already they have a system on that, and several companies are developing their own system and introducing it in the market as well. So it's a good way forward also for the practitioners in the industry.
Or in addition, though, because of the human factor, that is the workmanship issues that we cannot control, right? So we cannot attain zero defect.
Yes, so that's another thing, sir. Even though you have a very good plan, if it is a human-related, maybe the way they install it, or they skip one step or several steps, then definitely it's going to be parked under your defects reported. So yeah, you're correct, sir. It is still human error is part of the equation.
Yeah. Another question here is a text message. He is asking the benefits and the risk involved if in using BIM or BDC or IDD. Are there any benefits and risk involved in terms of cost?
Yes. Okay. So cost-wise, definitely we need to invest. Starting from the software being used, you have to train your staff. You have to train even your managers to look or oversee those. But in the long run, it's more on in the long run actually. The accuracy of the models that you were able to produce is going to be same as the slide that I have shown. I think that could answer partly the question. This company, they have significant, almost half on the cost impact and the time of the completion. So let me flash that again. So there's definitely a lot of benefits. So this is one. Yeah, this is a comparative study. See, there's a huge impact on their construction costs and operation cost, and even the time that we're able to finish their project, which is 30, is a huge significant number for time to complete. So these are just some of the study, and definitely there are more if we fully utilize it. But definitely the risk is more on if you're just buying it, but you are not, you're not doing explorations, you're not doing further studies to, to fully utilize this. So that's not so good practice if you're trying to invest on something. So that's part of the risk, Sir Jofio. Money-wise, actually.
Okay. I think there's a question, the chat box. Sir Jet.
Sorry, I muted. Okay, so this question is from Sir Jojo of Just Show. So you mentioned earlier regarding passing of skills to new generation. Then we introduce robotic machinery. what will happen to those skilled workers? Sir Lex?
Okay, so this is the usual questions that we encounter on most of the events that I joined when they are presenting robotics in the construction. So basically, one thing, we are addressing the safety, why we are deploying these robots. We are considering the safety of these guys. But let's all take note also that we are still, or the engineer or the technician or the operator is still the one handling those data. They are still the one manipulating what kind of inspection these robots need to do. So basically, if you are handing down your company practices, your best practices, as we could say, to your engineer, and you have their robots on site, they are still the ones who's going to, okay, I want this kind of info, I want these numerics or matrices in my project site. So they are still the one going to evaluate. So basically, it is not only the robot, because they're not still independent from us. They are part of the, our complements to help us make our life easier on site or in our project. So I think that is one of the main answer in that one, Sir Jojo. Our knowledge being shared is definitely still going to be used. These robots are more on our counterparts or our aid to help us, do further inspections.
Okay, so thank you, Sir Lex. Any more questions?
Yes. Okay.
From our participants?
I hope you learned something. Na-amaze pa siguro, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sa information overload. Sorry, we need to compact the info para sa 2 hours and so na discussion. Okay.
Yeah, very nice. More questions and clarifications? Well, siguro dito sa Pilipinas, alam mo naman magkaiba sila ng Singapore, no? So hanggang BIM lang pa lang. I don't know if there are big companies who are using BDC here, no? But what is we are familiar with is the building information modeling pa lang eh. Sige, if we have no questions, Sir Jet, what's next?
I guess wala na pong magtatanong yata, sir. But
no,
okay, so
alas 4 na.
Sir, we have
ito. May
last question.
May pahabol po, Jojo.
Yes, sir. May pahabol tayong question. So, ito po, galing kay Sir Jojo. Example, masonry. Kung ang mga robotic na ang gagawa ng masonry, di ba mawawalan na ng trabaho yung mga skilled worker dahil labor na lang ang kailangan mo?
Okay, based sa actual practice, they still hire the skilled masonry workers. Although may mga robots na doing the finishes, some of those are being operated by these guys who knows first coat, second coat. So again, these robots are not yet independent. So most of the time you will see on site, based on the projects that I saw, they're just playing. They have the controllers for those robots, especially those spraying with the concrete finishes. So, and because when you're doing the project, there's still space limitations. So you cannot have a very bulky robots inside, especially when you're doing the finishes indoors. So still, the people are still there. Either they're the one operating or they have this equipment to measure the accuracy of the sprayed concrete during the finishes. So although yun nga, lesser staff would be needed because of this enhancements sa processes because of the robotics, but still not totally not totally disregarded these skilled laborers or skilled workers that we have on site. They might be
maybe, yeah,
they might
maybe
be
let's
upgraded as the operator or the inspectors for that specific part of the project.
yeah. In addition, maybe we need more kids, no, because of these robots. Kids, not workers.
More kids.
That is construction 5.0. Mga bata nang kailangan natin, hindi na matatanda. To operate the robots.
Yes, sir. Actually, it's the 5.0 we haven't covered, but they are inclined on the AI aspect, the artificial intelligence aspect, incorporated in the construction processes. So, but that is a total different story already.
So, Sir Lex, may pahabol pong question si Sir Jojo. So,
yes, Sir Jo.
So, tataas ang employment natin. Ang unemployment natin.
Possibly, yun nga, sir. Kaya that's the reason why when we do have these new technologies, we are also encouraged that because it is not a one-time thing, or it's not going to happen overnight. That is why we are encouraged, if we are really going to that direction, especially the younger generations of our manpower, of our skilled laborers, as we call them, should be able to be more equipped. So that's why I have mentioned more works for the data analytics, more works for, although it is still the construction industry, but it's going to be shifted definitely if a lot of this is going to deploy. But again, a lot of research and studies and a lot of funding are needed. So it's not really a one-time thing. It will take years. So definitely we still need to prepare. This one part, actually, we're injecting the information or the knowledge, what we learned from here, from outside the Philippines, so that more or less our counterparts or our fellow practitioners in the Philippines could foresee something, because we are really good in innovating. We are really good in knowing a little, but we can expound it and to make it, a very significant contribution. So that's what we're trying to do as well. So related to that one, yes, most probably, but it's going to be changed on a different kind of profession involved still in the construction industry. So that's my take, Sir Jojo, on that.
Okay, so another question from Sir Aristotle Fernando. We have all advances in technology. How about safety?
Yes, yes, sir. So for the safety, one aspect that we're looking at, again, they are looking, on the past years, they were looking at it on the design part, but now they are incorporating, especially if we can have a model for the actual site. You'll know how deep is your excavation there. You know where's the location of your cranes, the location of your barricades. So again, that is one aspect of utilizing this technology or this actual 3D model for doing the site safety inductions. Normally, we don't deploy our staff without this. Even though they have the PTW, if you don't have the induction certificate or go signal from the safety officers or the safety engineers, you cannot really go there on site. So that's one way. Especially these big players or these adapters, they utilize the model for safety inductions. And again, you can see it. It's because it is almost real time. So you will know that this part might not have a deep excavation today, but eventually the following day, maybe during overnight, they made the drilling on that part. So you would know in the morning, you would know by viewing those models or being introduced. So that is one practice related to safety. Sometimes they post it in a huge screen outside the project site or HQ. Then they do the briefing there. Okay, we do have boreholes here, sample holes here, etc. So that's one aspect of the safety. But we're doing studies as well, sir. Some of my classmates in the VDC specialist diploma course, they are specializing on that one, utilizing the model and the available technology for the safety. So we might have other published documents on that one in the near future, maybe next year. Yeah.
Okay, so another question, Sir Lex from Sarah Arman. So in comparison to Singapore, where is now the Philippines in terms of BIM IDD application?
I don't have the graphical representation, but actually Philippines is lagging behind even from Malaysia, even from Thailand in the adoption of BIM. One of the major, if I may say this, one of the major institution that is really pushing on the implementation of BIM and VDC in the Philippines is Dr. De Castro, past president of PICE and past president of ASEP, and ESCA. So although some of us have our own trainings on this, because we wanted to really inject the information, it's more on opening the mind of our fellow Filipinos on this. This exists, and eventually, what can we adapt, considering the limited fundings that we do have, or because Singapore is one thing, it is an entire island, whereas the Philippines is, we're an archipelago, so it's a totally different story. We can't really compare it. But for that one, yeah, to be straightforward, we're still lagging behind. That's why when we're given the opportunity, some of us practitioners here, BIM professionals or VDC professionals here abroad, we are really willing to share it to our fellow Filipinos there in the Philippines. Because of one reason, that is one of the reasons. We're lagging behind our counterparts, that is. So I believe the major adapters is SMDC, they do have. I think you're quite familiar with the big names. They are starting their own BIM team as well. So for the VDC side, it's not yet called that way, but some of the aspects like the drone inspection, again, build have this as well. So meaning the DPWH is implementing this, that is already part of VDC going to IDD initiative. So although it's not totally called that way, we're already moving, but again, we're lagging behind. So knowledge sharing is good, and eventually funding for the implementation. So that's one of the answers for that question.
Okay, so a message from Sir Jojo. Thank you, Sir Lex. And
welcome,
from Sir Aristotle. Thank you, sir. I'm enlightened. Then another question, Sir Lex, from Nokia 2.3. So is this technology a future construction technology? It will not affect our environment or ecosystem in the future ahead?
Actually, before we proceed, that is part of the roadmap, they call it here. Once we transition from the VDC practice to the IDD, we need practitioners to have green certification, meaning the way they plan their buildings, the way they plan their projects should be within this green standard, they call it. So it is another training, and that is part of the BCA's initiative as well. While adapting to these new technologies, we should also take in consideration the environment that we are, we are disturbing basically as we create these wonderful projects for humankind, human consumption. But yes, sir, or is it ma'am? It is already required, and it is part of the sustainability plan. And I believe if you could try to search in YouTube or in the web, it is included in the UN strategy as sustainable development or sustainability as part of this, moving forward to Industry 5.0. Again, we're just lagging because of the pandemic, but yes, the sustainability aspect is part of this initiative. So, for example, when we're doing the BIM or the digitalization, we are one of the first proponent or practitioners of paperless processes. So that's one consideration. Another thing is knowing these materials, how they react by having these studies. We could sometimes we could do the recycled material in our specific project, and it is already allowed. And we do have laws and guidelines on that one as well. So that is more or less helping the environment, while we're doing our project, doing this BIM, we're helping the community or the environment for the sustainability aspect of it. So that's one of the answers. There's several more.
So from Sir Arman, thank you, sir. Then I think follow-up question from Sir Aristotle. It will generate new type of safety job, health and safety BIM/IDD officer.
Most probably, sir. Most probably, that's going to happen because based on my knowledge here, I have several colleagues. They are safety engineers, doing those safety orientation on site. But eventually, they were given the task to be part of the safety induction using this VDC. So they are more or less under the VDC department already, or BIMVDC. But their main goal is to implement the safety induction, doing the safety permit. So most likely, sir, that's going to be just a title, but the role is going to be there related to the safety.
Okay, so from Nokia 2.3, thank you.
Welcome, sir or ma'am.
And another thank you from Sir Aristotle Fernando. Okay, so I guess naging malinaw na po sa lahat yung inyong mga questions and clarifications. So meron pa po bang hahabol before we proceed to the next part? Okay, so I guess, sir, wala na po. And with that, thank you again, Sir Lex. So let's give another virtual clap for Sir Lex. So at this juncture, may I share this certificate to our speaker today. So the certificate, Republic of the Philippines, Nueva Ecija University of Science and Technology, ISO 9001, 2015 certified, Cabanatuan City, Nueva Ecija. Extension Services Department, Graduate School and Just Construction and Management Consultants awards this certificate of recognition to Engineer Romualdo Lex S. Garcia for serving as a speaker during VDC and IPD Construction's Future Today conducted on November 19, 2021 via Zoom meeting. Given this 19th day of November 2021 here at Cabanatuan City, Nueva Ecija, signed Marvic N. Villegas, PhD, Director, Extension Services Department, Jocelyn B. Cruz, PhD, Dean, Graduate School, Engineer Feliciana P. Jacoba, EDD, SUC President 3. So once again, thank you very much, Sir Lex, for your very informative discussion about our topic today.
Thank you, Doc Jet and Sir Jofil, and also to Dean Jocelyn. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Wait, meron din kami Lex, no?
Yes, sir.
Certificate.
Okay, Sir Jokil, go ahead, sir.
Colleen. Colin, basahin mo na. Hello, Colin. Yeah,
In
basahin mo
behalf
na.
of Just Construction and Management Consultants, hereby awards the Certificate of Appreciation to Engineer Romualdo Lex S. Garcia for sharing his great effort and valuable knowledge as a guest speaker during this construction webinar series entitled VDC and IPD, Construction's Future Today, given this 19th day of November 2021. Signed and confirmed by Dr. Jokil C. Hoxon, our President and CEO.
Thank you, Sir Jofil.
Thank you, din Lex. Jet, what's next?
Ayan po. Thank you very much po, Sir Lex.
Okay, so once again, thank you very much, Sir Lex. So may I remind our dear participants to please open the link sent in our chat box for our feedback form as well as for your attendance. So kindly fill out these forms. So the certificates will be given to you. So if you have completed these forms. Okay, so before we end our activity today, so I would like to grab this opportunity to thanks Sir Engineer Romualdo Lex Garcia for giving us time and sharing his expertise and knowledge about this topic, and also to the Just Construction and Management, so headed by Dr. Jofil Hoxon. So thank you for collaborating us in behalf of the graduate school and the NUST family. So thank you very much, sirs, Sir Lex and Sir Jofil. And of course, to our dear participants, thank you for your presence and giving your time. So I'm sure marami po tayong natutunan today.
Sir Jet?
Yes, ma'am.
Before we end po, may we request for everyone to turn on their cameras po para makapag-picture tayo lahat.
Yes po, ma'am. Please po sa ating dear participants para magkaroon po tayo ng photo op.
Ayan, sige po. Ready po. Wala. 1, 2. Okay na po. Thank you po.
Okay, so thank you, Ma'am Colleen. So, Sir Jofil, do you have a message?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Salamat na marami. No, salamat na marami for all na umattend, engineers, students, architects, contractors, owners, no? And technical personnel, kung meron man na umattend. Anyway, okay, so this is the last series of our construction management webinar, free webinar in collaboration with the Graduate School of NEUST. So we have 6 of that, and it is the 5 of that is available sa YouTube ng Just Construction and Management Consultants. And the 6th will be uploaded, though this one will be uploaded soon. And hopefully next year we will come up again with another collaboration with NEUST Graduate School for more enlightening topics in construction management and construction, and even in architecture. No, we will cover everything from civil engineering, architecture, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. No, and we will locate those speakers who are expert in their fields of engineering. Okay, so abangan natin yan next year. Para sa atin lahat. Okay, so wala na akong masabi, alas 5 na. And thank you very much to our dear speaker, no? Engineer Juan Lex Garcia, my schoolmate at the University of San Agustin, no? That's kami nag-graduate doon. Anyway, sige. Yun lang. Wala na akong masasabi. Dr. Jet, take it over.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Jofil. So looking forward for more collaborations with NUST and the JAS. So once again, thank you to our dear participants, and of course,
thank you
to our speaker, Engineer Juan Lex Garcia. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir.
See you in Singapore.
Sige, sir. Visit soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
So,
Yes, sir.
take care, everyone. God bless.